Gentlemen, hello. Welcome back to a brand new video. Sorry it's been a little bit of a hiatus. I know to my 700 subscribers who aren't actually active, that was a long time, but we are back. We're here with a brand new video. Today we're going to be talking about working out less. Don't ruin your life. We got our black coffee. Thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time watching me, my intention with these videos is for it to be kind of like a podcast episode in a sense. You're here to just listen to me. I'm going to talk about some specific ideas of implementation that I do in my own end to get jacked in the least amount of time as possible, specifically using my minimalist training style. So we're going to be discussing that today in kind of a framework perspective you can take to perform better in the gym with less inputs. So I know that was a bunch of jargon, a bunch of stuff I just threw at you, but we're going to get into the weeds of it here in just a second. I appreciate you guys watching. We're back. We're here. We're talking about getting jacked because that's what self-improvement really starts with, getting jacked. I'm a huge self-improvement junkie. My name is Nick Roberts. Anyways, enough meandering. You are here to learn the sauce. That is why I am here. Let's jump into it. Also, I got my notes next to me. I wrote physical notes today. So if you see that, if you see me looking over, it's because I'm referring to my notes because I don't want to go off topic too much. Now, we are officially going to jump right into it. So I really want to start off with the concept of Japan and the lean manufacturing method. So I was first introduced to this idea when I was reading the book, I was listening to an audio podcast of the book, The Lean Startup. So what this concept is Japan was just breaking into the car industry from my understanding, and they were here to compete with the American cars. The American car industry was, at the time, I believe, one of the strongest, if not the strongest, in the world, and they were producing the best cars at the time. Japan comes in with a completely different philosophy. The thing that I believe American cars were doing is that it was a very clunky process. There was way too much, just so much added in. There was so much you needed to do to produce a car, and it took unbelievably long, and it cost a lot of money to produce these. And sometimes the market, the people, didn't even want it. So it ended up being a failure, and it was useless. Japan's philosophy about lean manufacturing changed the game. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be applying this lean manufacturing philosophy and idea to how we train in the gym. So stay with me now. This is very important. This is going to be a very interesting perspective, and I'm going to go into specific action steps after this that you can take to really go and apply this in your own training to get some really good results. Also, I'm sorry if you see a ton of sunlight coming in. It is currently 7 in the morning. I have my coffee. I am doing great. That is why there's a ton of sunlight. Anyways, the first thing I want to start off with is the Kaizen method. So many of you are familiar with the Kaizen philosophy, what that means. It's essentially just small, minute little adjustments and small little improvements on a process as a whole over a sustained long period of time. There's another added to that. It's not about being perfect. It's about not stopping. It's about continuous little adjustments and improvement. So that's kind of where the basis of this Japan lean manufacturing thing came into play. They basically focused on just the most biggest important tasks that needed to be done to produce a car as fast and as cheap as possible. Essentially, they wanted to eliminate waste. So getting rid of just the things that didn't matter. These big American car brands were taking their time and developing things that didn't matter. There's a bunch of bureaucratic jargon going in there and corporate whatever and all these time wasters of creating things that weren't helpful to actually having a finished product of a well-oiled machine, a car that was cheap, fast, did what it needed to do, and was built right. So by eliminating waste, you have to focus on only what you need, the most important things. You have to have high quality tires. You gotta have a good solid steering wheel, gas that is fuel efficient in the car, and a car that really gets you from point A to B and doesn't necessarily have to be in style because we're not necessarily going for style. We're going for functionality in the least amount of inputs possible. So you understand now kind of what the basis is for this philosophy. The philosophy is very much like get rid of everything you don't need. It's a minimalist approach. You don't need all this junk. Get rid of all that extra stuff in your life. Get rid of those things that don't actually help you in progressing forward because a lot of what we're doing here is progressing forward. Once I started to adopt this philosophy into my training style, I would say things really started to improve. For my own story, one of the biggest things that I ran into when I first started training a lot was that I would get into the gym. I would have so much fun. Not really, but I would be at the gym for like 2.5 hours, hitting like 15 to 20 sets of like chest for just a chest day. I wasn't even doing triceps. I wasn't doing shoulders. I would do some lateral raises maybe, but like that would be a chest day for me, 2 to 2.5 hours. And I would go in like 5 to 6 days a week. So if you know anything about training, or maybe you're brand new, that's shooting yourself in the foot by doing that much load of training. Now, maybe if you're like, Mr. Olympia level and you're getting into the gym for reasons that are different than the average folk, then yeah, that makes sense. Go in there and do what you got to do. But for me at the time, it really started to lead in a decrease in my overall life. And here's the thing, fitness is about making your life better. It's not about making it worse. So what was really important is that I needed to cut out the fluff. So any of that sounds similar to you, if you are in the gym for an excruciatingly long amount of time, or if you are getting new to the gym and you just haven't figured out how to keep your workout shorter, you haven't figured out what you're supposed to do to keep your workout shorter, this advice, what I'm going to give you right now, is going to be exactly what you need to cut down on your time in the gym. Because like I said, fitness is about improving our life. It's not about detracting and taking away from our quality of life. So that is the major issue that I was running into and that I needed to change, was because I was spending an egregious amount of time lifting in the gym, wasting my day, and overall not having progress in other areas of my life because I was just stacking in as much points as I possibly could into my fitness, quote unquote, like skill stack. So a lot of people were spending, that I knew, upwards of 10 to 15 hours. And this was like kind of that 2022 gym phase, 2021 early gym phase. I had been training for about a year then, but it really blew up on TikTok. Becoming, a gym rat was like the thing. There was the saying, "We go gym." If you're familiar with that, you know what kind of phase I'm talking about, like hard style, funk, like all this stuff. Sorry, I'm getting caffeinated. I need it. All of that stuff was huge in the gym industry, but people were like really pushing ideals of like training for just, like I said, egregious amounts of time. You ask someone like, "Oh, how long do you spend in the gym a week?" About like 10 hours, 11 hours. What do you mean, dude? 11 hours, 15 hours? What are you doing with the rest of your life? Okay. If you are spending that much time at the gym and you aren't like a bodybuilder or something, you have other aspects in life that you can improve. And for me personally, and a lot of people would agree, that is detracting from your life. So here's how we're going to integrate everything seamlessly. We're going to cut down on our gym time. We're going to focus on getting in the gym for like 3 to 4 hours a week, cut down all the waste, get rid of all the things that don't matter, okay? And we're going to make our process streamlined to where we're just doing the maximum inputs, the least amount of inputs for the maximum outputs. That's our focus. So, minimalist training, practical application. That is the name of that note on this section. So here's the actual bread and butter. Here's how you're going to apply it into your own life. This is how you're going to build an aesthetic physique. So to start, you need to be getting into the gym at least 3 to 5 times a week. If you have less time, get in the gym 3 times a week. If you have more time, go to 5 times a week. Okay, this is crucial. Here's how we're actually going to structure our training to get the most amount of our training. What I focus on is this concept that I've been coining. I call it compound crazy. Okay, get into the gym, and the biggest thing you're going to focus on at the beginning of your lift is going to be your compound lifts. That's going to be bench press. That's going to be barbell back squats. That's going to be deadlifts. That's going to be pull-ups. That's going to be bent over rows. Stuff like that. Those are the most crucial movements to developing your physique overall. Those movements do 80 to 90% of the actual work on a given day. This is how you're going to be in the gym for like 30 to 45 minutes, is you're going to focus on a majority of that gym period on these lifts. So I always like to use chest day as the example, okay? If you are getting into your chest day, you're starting off with your incline bench press. I always say do incline. This is a side note. Most people don't have upper developed chest, and they don't actually work on their chest on the upper area. And so they don't have that chest shelf that they refer to. So focus on incline bench press if that is something you are not already doing. So people, You start off with your compound crazy movement. That is going to be the bench press. You are going to focus on doing 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps. The focus is to your aim is to get to the 6th rep and have absolutely nothing else left in the tank. And I mean absolutely nothing. Like, you could maybe die on the 6th rep. I'm just kidding. Don't actually do that. That was me joking around. But get as to much of a point of exhaustion in your muscles by that 6th rep that you barely have anything else to squeeze out. You don't want to die. Keep a spotter. Always do that. But get to that point where you have at least like a quarter rep left in you to just pure exhaustion. And you're going to do it 3 times, okay? That is the correct amount of volume that you need almost for an entire week to grow your chest. And I know that sounds so small. The rest of the work that comes in from those other exercises that you can do, they will still lead to growth, but not as much of a contribution that your bench press will be. So if you are trying to get the maximum output for the least amount of input, your compound lift should take you anywhere from like 15 to 20 minutes of the workout. So go super hard on your compound lift at the beginning of the lift, whether that's 3 times a week where you're just doing a push day, a pull day, and a leg day, or 5 times a week and you're doing other exercises as your compound lifts. Focus on that as the biggest portion that you are getting into, and you are hustling and you're burning out your muscles during that portion of your workout. Crucial to developing your physique. The biggest input, I keep getting that mixed up, bro. The biggest output for the least amount of input. Those two, dude, that is so hard to say. Anyways, the next part. So, diet just as important as getting in shape, probably more important, honestly. This is my structure for getting healthy through your diet. Follow the 80-20 split, okay? Super simple. 80% of the time, you should be eating clean, whole foods that are high in protein and that have a bunch of micro and macronutrients that are good for you, okay? If you're in a calorie deficit, great, you're getting lean. If you're in a calorie surplus, great, you're bulking. But either way, you should be eating as much as you possibly can of clean, whole foods, okay? 80-20 split. Now, for 20% of the time, you can have what you want. Do whatever you'd like. Have a cheeseburger, have a grilled cheese, have Raising Cane's, have some fried chicken, whatever makes you happy. Do those things, because 20% of the time, you cannot be eating like this dog food like 80% of your 100% of your life, unless it's kind of in a cyclical nature, as in how bodybuilders do certain portions of their seasons. That makes sense. But most of us are not bodybuilders. We're trying to integrate this with our daily normal lives. That is why I'm talking about this 80-20 split. This is incredibly useful for diet specifically. So here's some practical application, what I use all the time to make banger meals that are so simple, that don't take that much time, and are really healthy and high in protein, okay? I'm going to break this down for you right now. You should already be taking notes as it is, but here is my advice for take down notes right now, because this is my advice for diet, which has just been streamlined progress of about 6 years of lifting now, to where you can hit your protein so easily. First off, look into Minute Maid rice, okay? Maybe it's not the cleanest rice out there, but it's healthier than a lot of other carb options. It's not like fried chicken. It's good, and it takes 1 minute, and it's so easy, and it's already measured out for you, those little cups that you microwave. So get Minute Maid rice. Get your protein of choice. If you're really lazy, get some chicken thighs, because you'll air fry it so you don't even have to cook it. Or if you like beef, get some ground beef, because we're going to do that as our main protein source. And then what we're going to get on the side of that is some frozen veggies. So this meal literally takes like 10 minutes, maybe 15 max. And you can cook 2 to maybe 3 meals if you're like wanting to eat something tinier. But you can definitely cook 2 meals out of this. So get your rice, throw it in the microwave. That's going to take a minute. While that's going, you're going to have some taco seasoning from Siete brand, or just any taco, maybe Taco Bell just regular taco seasoning. Get some taco seasoning, throw it onto your protein. If it's chicken thighs, throw that in the air fryer for 400 degrees at 13 minutes, not 400 minutes. 400 degrees at 13 minutes, throw those chicken thighs in there with the taco seasoning on it. Then, as the protein is cooking and as the rice is finishing up, take your frozen veggies, whatever mix you want. Doesn't matter, as long as it goes with the flavor. Maybe it's fajitas, maybe it's the California blend, whatever that may be. Maybe it's just like you dice up some onions and some bell peppers, whatever you want. I don't know. But get some veggies. Frozen veggies are super easy because you just throw it in the microwave, boom, pull it out, and you're good. And they last a long time because it's frozen. You take out those veggies, you have your cup of rice, throw that into a bowl, take out your protein, chop up a little bit. If it's ground beef, you don't even have to chop it up because it's the same method. You get out a pan, you throw in your ground beef, you throw some taco seasoning on top of that, maybe a little oil on the pan just to make sure it doesn't burn. And after about 10 minutes, the beef is done, 11 minutes maybe. Chicken takes about 13 minutes, it's out. And then once you're done, you have all of your protein done. Throw a good portion of it. If it's a half a package of ground beef, you're going to get a solid 50 grams of protein. You can go a little more, a little less. Throw into your veggies on the rice, and boom, you're done. That takes 15 minutes to make a fantastic meal. You can get about 2 meals worth out of that if you cook 2 packages of the Minute Maid rice in there, which is already weighed out for you. If you're a bigger guy, just do more. Maybe do a little less. Whatever you're trying to do. But that is such a simple way to streamline eating healthy. Stupid easy, okay? And that's like you can meal prep 2 meals for the day. You can have lunch today and you can have lunch tomorrow, done in 15 minutes. So that is kind of the concept, the basis of what we're building off of. Anyways, my camera's starting to overheat a little bit, so I'm going to wrap things up here. Pick up a new sport. Really crucial. This is what I've been doing recently. I go out on the weekends. I play tennis. Look at this. Look, check out my bag. Can you see that? That's awesome. That's like I got a bag for this. Go out. I play a sport. I spend a lot of time with friends now. It's social. It's like cardio. I play for like an hour and a half. It's super fun. It has led to massive gains. Super simple and easy. It's social. You're doing fun cardio with people. Do basketball, do volleyball, do something with other people that you can play that's super fun. Any sort of sport, mixed martial arts, that's a great one. So anyways, guys, my camera overheated, but 10K steps a day, mandatory method. Super simple way to stay in shape, especially if you're on a cut. 10K steps a day, mandatory. Okay, the average American gets about anywhere from like 6 to 7,000 steps on a daily basis, or maybe it's 4 to 6,000. But using this method, I'm going to teach you how to get to 10K steps a day, roughly burning anywhere from like 300 to 350 extra calories without much extra effort to attribute to your physique getting in great shape. Super simple method. This is what I use. When you have some downtime after a meal, whenever, just 3 times a day, you're going to go for a 10-minute walk. So that means 5 minutes one direction, 5 minutes back the direction you came. 10 minutes. That is going to stack on an extra anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 steps. That will get you to 10K steps very easily. Super simple method. I do it all the time. I get upwards of 15 to almost 20,000 steps daily. I'm a big time walker. It is so good for every single aspect of your life. I would highly recommend it. It'll make fitness seamless. And that's pretty much it, guys. Honestly, that is literally it. So implementing all those things that I've talked about right there, that's helped me get into the best shape of my life. I'm currently on a cut right now. We're getting back down to a lean body weight because that's aesthetic for YouTube, and I just enjoy being aesthetic and lean because that's fun. Life is great when you're lean and aesthetic. Now, as far as next steps, what you can do. So I have built out a community. I have built out a course, well, in the process of building out the community as well. But I have that linked down below. Everything is discounted because it is not officially launched. There's not much content in there yet, but if that's something you're interested in, check it out. First link in the description. Give it a look. I appreciate you guys watching. Go achieve some greatness this week. Go do and be your best self. Get in shape. Use this minimalist approach. If you found any of this helpful, drop a like and comment down below. That helps me out a ton. And if you really do want to see the jam-packed knowledge that will be dropping very soon in my course and program, which will go over the autistic level of detail, that is going to be the first link in the description. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. Peace.